Hi, everyone. Nice to see your faces again, or at least you see ours. We don't see yours, but hopefully soon at Mission Kaleidoscope. Today, we talk about our next module that we will cover in our program, one very fundamental one. It'll be about self-doubts. Surprise, huh? Nobody knows what is self-doubt. I've never heard about that before. No, but all the kidding aside, Julia, what is your relationship to self-doubts?
Never heard of it, just like you said it. I wish I could say that. What my relationship with self-doubt, that's a very good question. I would say that it is to be completely honest with you, I think that it is a never-ending relationship. It just moves from one area to another. So it starts with me greeting it at a certain topic that I'm tackling right now, trying to find my way around it and with it and take the best out of it, because I do believe that sometimes it can be good as well. And then when I find my way around it, I just move on to the next topic or the next project, and then there I meet it again. And usually self-doubt shows itself in a completely different new appearance, and that's what is super interesting for me with this relationship.
Whenever you think you overcame it and there are no self-doubts left, it just shows up in a different color.
Exactly.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people listening right now can relate to that as well. I do, for sure. Something that you said earlier that I think is very interesting to have a look at is you mentioned that there are also benefits from self-doubts. Would you mind share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's just my personal thing, but the benefit of self-doubt, I see a few. So the first one is that when I see self-doubt, it makes me a little bit annoyed, and then it makes me realize that I want to overcome it. So it's kind of a signal that it means that I really want something. So I'm trying to work my way through it. And then another one, I mean, I think it is normal to have self-doubts to some extent, because sometimes it's our coping mechanism, and sometimes it helps us not to make certain decisions, which could be not beneficial for us. But it's very important to, keep it balanced, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, yeah, that's a great perspective on it. I think what came up for me when you mention it as well is self-doubts can also help us to work harder. Sometimes, like you said, it's an indication that you really want it. For me, self-doubts usually come up at moments where I'm growing. So where it shows something uncomfortable, something that feels a little bit out of reach. That's usually the time when my self-doubts are the loudest, full blast. Trying to stop me from just getting one step further and go back to where I was comfortable and cozy and safe. But I think self-doubts are actually helpful because they keep us grounded. They keep us keep on working harder and go for what we really want. And to have the product final and beautiful and perfect. Remember, like, we worked months on this program before we were able to say what the content will be like and how it's structured and how we want to use our strength in this. So I think that's a great reminder. And for everyone who's listening right now and says, oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. But, most of the time it's actually really self-doubts are costing me because I'm not able to take that one step further. I stop and then I don't do what I want, or I get in my own way, or whatever. What are ways of how we, accept and stop when we have self-doubts? One interesting thing to consider is the imposter syndrome. Most of you probably heard about it. In case you haven't, there's a YouTube video that I made about the imposter syndrome versus armchair quarterback. So if you're not sure what we're talking about, take a look there. But I think it's a very interesting thought to look at how the imposter syndrome describes how our level of expertise are high, but our confidence is very low. And that can get challenging in the process.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. That's something that I think, like you said earlier, it's something that it's very natural to experience when you are stepping one, once you're making one step further in your career or in your personal development. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, earlier you described your process of how you are with self-doubts and how you overcome them, or how you work with them before you're able to move on. And for everyone listening right now, wondering what would support them in the process as well. If you're talking to yourself in moments where self-doubts are in full blast and you feel like you're in the middle of it, what are things that you tell yourself?
I think that if I need like this immediate help, self-help, then what I'm doing is I'm reminding myself about my skills, about what I have to bring, about what my experience have been in the past. So this is something that I consciously make my train of thoughts move to a different direction. But then this is still temporary, because afterwards the self-doubt thoughts can still come back. So what I also like to do is I like to ask myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? The absolute worst scenario. And usually when I actually let myself think about it in details, the worst is not bad at all. Like it's really worth of trying at the end. So yeah, this is my, let's say, quick fix.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So what I heard in that is like finding evidence for, is it really that bad, but also finding evidence for what you already are and what you bring and what are good things, and reminding you of that self-doubts are just, a survival, like a mechanism that happens in your brain or your body, and it's not necessarily the truth. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. One thing that I'd like to add, and then we're ready to wrap for today, is also community. If you suffer with self-doubt, then one way to overcome it, I just found it in a research about the imposter syndrome that I referred to earlier, is to find your community, to find people supporting you in moments like this. Because sometimes we don't see the evidence in the moments. It's helpful to have someone else, like Julia, reminding me of, what I bring to the table. So yeah, thanks for listening. We love to have you on Mission Kaleidoscope, taking a deep dive on your self-doubts, where they come from, what are ways around, and finding the community that will support you in this.